Morning goods, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Shock the System podcast. On this episode, we give you the Philippine triathlon icon and three-time Ironman World Championship finisher, Coach Annie De Leon Brown. I'm your host, Rafi Silerio, and get ready to shock the system.
Just through, please. How did you start? Briefly, background.
Oh, briefly?
Briefly.
I don't know if I'll try my best. Honestly, I didn't really plan to be doing what I'm doing right now. I started out studying interior design in college, and then I practiced that for 7 years. I was a licensed interior designer. And then later on, I even took up a second degree in painting, which I wasn't able to finish because of this sport. So a little rewind. When I was in UP, I was part of the swim team. You know, just like balancing. It was more for fun, and I really liked the rush of competition and the social aspect of it, and the many benefits of it, including fitness. And then later on, my coach decided several of us should do the triathlon event as cross-training.
Cross-training. Okay.
Because having a swam for UP, if I may, no, baka many of you don't know, the triathlon events started in UP Diliman. I mean, where, not in UP Diliman, but where conceptualized by the UP Mountaineers. And they organized the first ever triathlon event in Matabungkay. So they were UP Mountaineers. And two of them were my coaches in the swimming team. And then they later on made it a little bit more, you know, may race marshals na naging proper event na siya. And that was, so the first one was in 1987. When I decided to, you know, give it a go, I was 19 years old, I was second year college, and that was already in Subic. So that was 1994, the first Subit, which is Subic International Triathlon. Panay standard distance lang naman nun was in 1993, which is why we celebrated the 30th year.
30th year. Tapos bumalik kayo, yung mga young
yung
ones.
mga sinasabing mga
young ones.
Legends category.
Correct. Legends category. Yung iba dun, coach, parang ayaw na maglaro.
I
Kasi,
know.
di ba, yung iba kahit nung nalagay sila sa legends category, parang di na. Kasi feeling nila, no? Di ba? Of course, si Coach Andy Loterio na-invite, pero ayaw na kasi legends na. Parang, hi, Coach.
Well, I think it was more in the spirit of fun and yung sentimental, you know, there were so many memories that resurfaced na kami na lang yung nakakatanda. So it was really fun to do that. So going back, I was 19, I was in college, and really, we were so green. Because we were part of the UP swim team, we were swimming fit. So we were like, we can do this, you know. We didn't realize there was such a thing as swimming-specific fitness, bike-specific fitness, and run-specific fitness.
Not to mention, of course, the transition
and the many little details
Yes.
that you had to think about.
Well,
We didn't think of that. Yun na nga ignorance is bliss eh. And so we came out of the water, kaming mga teammates ko, nauna kami. So, bali, after 5 minutes, nasa bandang likod na kami. Nung nagdaanan na yung mga
nagbabike.
I borrowed a bike that was from the bike mechanic in the UP Diliman area sa Kalayaan. May bike shop doon. It was a Chromoly yung tawag namin.
Yung bakal.
Yung top tube. Doon na yung shifter. Doon yung shifter. And syempre, I think naka-rubber shoes or definitely I wasn't able to wear cleats yet. Hindi pa ako marunong. And yung ruta from All Hands Beach, so we swam in All Hands Beach, and then the route para maging 40K, 2 times to Ocean Adventure and back. So you can imagine, that's why na-drop kami kaagad kasi
Paakyat ka agad.
uphill siya. And then the run, 5K up to Crown Peak area.
Crown Peak,
and
kung
5K
sa
down.
May, sa may
Yung QB, yeah.
Oh, so ay, sino bang organizer nito? Parang ayaw sa patag.
Ayun. So, galit na ako sa mga ng budol. Wala pa yung term na budol nun, but that was like an ultimate budol sa amin. Galit na galit ako by the time na pabalik na ako yung last 5K ko. Ay, talagang panay halos lakad na eh. Pero, ayun, I didn't do it immediately right away because when I crossed the finish line, I was like, I'm never gonna do this again.
So,
grabe.
Si Coach Annie nagkaroon din ng face na gano'n. Coach Annie, na I'm never gonna do this again.
Yes.
Diba? Pero kasi palagi yan naririnig natin at sinasabi natin right after we cross the finish line, not gonna do this again. Pero maya-maya nagtitingin na kung saan magre-register.
Mismo.
Diba? Aminin nyo kung sino kayo
Mismo.
dyan. Diba? So, yun. So basically, that's how you started.
Yep,
no?
yep.
So since you have your swimming background, and we all know that swimmers in this sport, malaki talaga ang advantage.
I think especially for the Filipino triathlon community, unlike if you start, maybe you're from the US or you're from Australia or you're from Europe, I think integrated yung swimming in their PE or in their curriculum in school. Sa atin, not as much eh. So I think that was the challenge for most when they were starting. So I was really lucky. I didn't really take the sport seriously even like for a few years after that first try. But when I graduated from college, I went into my work. As I mentioned earlier, I was a practicing interior designer. And then, I kind of like gained a little bit of weight. And then I said, I don't like this. What can I do kaya? But during that time, wala pang master swimming. So I couldn't like really swim anymore kasi wala naman akong masalihan. So I guess the only alternative was to take up the triathlon thing seriously and try training for it properly, which I did. And then yun na, parang from there tinuloy-tuloy ko na. And even until now, until this day, hindi pa rin ako I can't really say for sure na natutunan ko na lahat. Parang ang dami ko pang kailangan matutunan. It's almost 30 years next year.
Wow.
That I'm in this sport. Pero
30
parang,
years?
I think that's what's fun about it. For me, anyway. Parang hindi ko siya ever... It's never boring. It's always interesting and it's always changing. At the same time, it remains constant in many ways.
And of course, with the innovations, with science nowadays, diba?
Yes.
Ang daming pagbabago. I'm assuming since you guys started, comparing it to now, when of course it was a fuss with all the Norwegians exposing how they worked out, and then of course with Trisuto and everything. There are a lot of methods. Diba, na it's really up to you on sino yung papakinggan or sino yung adapt mo, diba, na method.
Ako kasi I'm not what you would say an extreme person na ito lang. Absolutely, ito lang yung kailangan mong sundan. That's it. I think you should be able to, be humble enough to learn from everyone. And that's the only way you really learn, and you'll be able to... Kasi as a coach, that's important for me, to keep learning. Yeah. Because it's not for me, it's for the people who I want to help.
Yes.
So I have to stay open-minded. And all the coaching methods, obviously I follow them. I'm really... I admire a lot of them. Of course, I am partial to some, and I take a little bit from here and there, and then apply it into my own, kind of system or method. But I see them as all parang kotse. If you want to get from here to there, you use a certain kind of vehicle that you prefer, and yung iba gusto ng pick-up, yung iba gusto Ferrari. And they all work. You can get from point A to point B, and you just basically, kung gusto mo pa mag-change ng cars every now and then, which, I guess it's the same from my coaching method. honestly, even the way I coach between now and last year, especially between now and 10 years ago, totally like changed. Like it's always evolving.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned before, a lot of things remain constant. The fundamentals. But yeah, I'm always like every year, especially during the pandemic, I started learning. Enrolling myself in courses even more because of the online things.
Yeah, it was accessible, and that was the only thing that we can do that time.
Exactly. And that has remained like a good way for me to keep updating my knowledge. So yeah, definitely whatever works for you. And then like even within my group of athletes, some prefer data, some prefer just like to be directed, like just tell me what to do, coach. I don't really care what the reasoning is behind. I mean, so like you get a little bit of both, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Correct. Agree. Okay, coach, let's go now to your experience as an athlete, no? So let's go back to 2002 where you did the first iron distance
Yes.
in Matabongkay. But this was totally unsanctioned. So
Yes.
take us through about it, kung paano ba nabuo itong iron distance na to.
So we have to give credit to the organizers. They were called First Wave Dry. Ang
First
grupo na
Wave
ito ay si Raul Cuevas, si Ricky Ledesma, at saka si Lito Fugoso, whom some of you may not know because Lito Fugoso is really known to be the manager of Side A Band.
Okay.
Which probably the kids now don't even know who Side A Band is.
Side A, si ano yan? Kilala, ano bang sample ng Side A natin dyan, di ba? Heart of Mind ba to? Mga ganyan, di ba? Okay.
So yon, sila yung for several years in the 90s, they were organizing what was just called the Half Ironman, Matabongkay Half Ironman. Yun lang siya. That was the name. And then that was in the 90s. And then early 2000s, yung mga paulit-ulit na sumasali, I guess they were clamoring for something more challenging. Kasi paulit-ulit every year.
Sino tong mga napagod sa half iron distance na to? Pangalanan mo,
gosh,
Coach. Sino tong mga to?
Kasama na siguro yung mga, you know what? Don't ask me to name names na right now. Medyo na mental block ako. Pero yeah, marami sila. It's best to ask the organizers themselves if you get the chance to interview them.
Si Ricky Ledesma next natin dito.
Yes.
Dami tayong tanong kay
wait,
Ricky.
may naalala ko. Sila Nonoy Hobson.
Nonoy Hobson.
Yan yung mga
Legendary.
ganyan. Frank Lacson. Yan.
Of course.
Abet Alindogan.
Abet Alindogan.
Yes, yun. Alvin Alindogan and Abet Alon-Alon. Yan yung mga paulit-ulit.
So sila yung mga napagod
and
sa ano.
Fred Oitengsu.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So, ako naman, I was more of like focusing on Olympic distance. I was part of the national team. And I would like to hang out with them because medyo on the higher end yung volume ko
Okay.
for Olympic distance training. So, you know me, like medyo may pagka-type A, sasama ako. Sinong maglo-long ride na ganito? Sama lang ako sa kanila. Yung medyo I would hang out with them if they would like practice in Matabongkay. Kasi kung malapit na yung race, pupunta-punta sila doon, magbabike sila, sasama lang ako. And then, yun na, in 2002, I guess the year before, in 2001, yun na, I think it took a whole year na medyo nag-prepare sila eh. Sabi nila, okay, next year, gawin na natin tong full distance. And then they were able to sign up 50 people.
50. First 50 to.
Yes.
Okay?
And 3 females. Ito yung funny thing about it. This is, do as a classic. Do as I say, not as I do. Baka, maano ka na mga athletes ko hindi ka coach. Ikaw pala eh. Ikaw pala coach eh.
Okay, so may
Pero
disclaimer
true
na si
story
coach.
to. True story.
Okay,
like
true
I
story.
said before,
Okay.
I wasn't really training for long distance. I was a national team member. In fact, November 30, 2002. In the National Championships, which is now called NAGT. It was in January. A little bit over a month gap lang.
Pero syempre, naka-line up ka na for NAGT noon.
Yes. Which we called national trials.
Okay,
Yeah.
national
So,
trials.
I was really training for that. And then I was doing online coaching with Coach Tony Benson, who is based in Melbourne, Australia. So he was my coach then. I was following his program.
Okay.
And then, like I said, higher end volume yung bike ride ko. So sabi nila, raw sila. Gagawin daw nila yung, kasi 60K per loop.
Okay,
So, yung
60K per
yung
loop.
ruta na 180. 60K per loop sa Matabungkay. I remember from Matabungkay, it went to Calatagan, to Balayan, to Lian to make 60K. So, they said 2 weeks before, sige, practicein natin. Ito 2 weeks to go na to
So
ng
coach,
race.
may open traffic? Walang walang marshal?
Walang marshal, oo.
So paano yung timing nyo dito? Honesty
Oo.
system?
Ay, hindi. May mano-mano.
Mano-mano.
Oo. Tapos may
Ano.
nakatao naman sa lahat ng turnaround.
Okay,
Oo.
okay.
So yeah, going back, they said 2 weeks to go, practicein natin yung 2 loops ng 60K. Sabi kasama ako 120, sakto yan sa long ride ko.
Okay.
Sumama ako. And then, I guess there were at least 20 plus of them who did the training ride. Tapos parang in the training ride, I was riding with a group of Nonoy, Raul, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos sabi nila Nonoy, as we were about to finish the 120, sabi nila sa akin, sumali ka na lang kaya. Kasi the other boys were behind. And we were maybe in the front pack of the ride. Mga 6. Tapos kasama ko pa rin sila.
Coach, sino yung mga nasa
Ayun
likod
nga.
nun? Yung mga nasa
Hindi
likod?
ko alam. Wag na nating sabihin. Basta yung training partner ko nun is JJ San Pascual, who many of you don't know anymore because he migrated to France.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Anyway, so sabi ko, ayoko nga. Grabe naman kayo. Parang sira ulo yan. Ano ba yung distance? Ay, wala ako. At saka ang training ko for Olympic lang.
Okay.
Grabe naman yung leap. I hadn't even done half iron 70.3.
Wow.
Half Ironman lang tawag namin. Later na kasi yung 70.3 at
Half
saka 50,
Ironman.
150 na mga
Okay.
terms eh. So, yeah. Sabi ko, hindi pa nga ako nakaka-half. Ano ba kayo? Tapos sabi niya, kakasabay ka sa amin. Sabi ko, ayoko nga. Sunday yon, exactly 2 weeks before.
Okay.
And then, sila Raul, ganyan-ganyan. Sabi ko, ayoko. And then, nung Tuesday, I called Raul. Sabi ko, Raul, sali na nga. Kasi I think they were baka magsisi ka. It's the first ever iron distance
Siyempre, tayo pa naman.
Philippine soil. And then, papayag ka ba? Hindi ka kasali. Sabi ko, okay lang sa akin. Wala akong pake. But,
Siyempre,
ayun.
yung tinatawag natin ngayon na inaugural, di ba?
Yun nga.
Pag
And then,
inaugural.
I think medyo tumalab. Nung Tuesday nun, after, sabi ko, Raul, pwede pa ba sumali? And then, Rudy Project, kasi wala naman akong budget. The race fee was 4,500. Sila yung nag-shoulder. Rudy Project was my first ever sponsor for anything. So that was the first time I think I ever asked for cash. Kasi parang medyo biglaan and I didn't really set aside anything for that. So yan, sobrang bait ni Gabriel Boshi.
Of course.
Yeah, pumayag siya. And then, ayun na. Tapos tumawag ako sa coach ko. Actually, email I don't remember, but it was very kind of like the early versions of emails. He was sending me workouts in Excel eh.
Okay.
Ganong tipo.
Yan ang start. Wala pang training peaks na.
So, sabi niya, are you crazy? You're not prepared for that? Do you have any idea how to hydrate? How to eat properly? Sabi ko, I don't know and I know I'm not prepared. Please just help me. Please just help me and give me step by step what to do. Okay, you're not prepared to push and race it, as so to speak. So just do it at zone 2. Yung tinatawag natin zone 2.
Zone 2, okay.
Oo. Okay.
Aerobic.
So ito lang yung pace mo, and then ayun na, he kind of like laid out piece of paper na ito, after ganito uminom ka, after ganito ganyan. So like sinunod ko lang, tas super aerobic lang yung pace ko. And then obviously sa bike, I wasn't pushing kasi alam ko namang hindi ko kayang i-push for 180. I don't have volume for... My longest ride before that, by the way, was 126 kilometers. And my longest run, I think, was like 23 kilometers.
Okay, 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still high volume for Olympic distance training.
Yes.
But I was able to reach that. Kasi minsan binibigyan ako ng 2-hour run ni Coach Tony. So medyo umaabot ng ganon. So, yeah. So, hindi. Yeah. So, basta yun na yung pinaka-peak volume ko nun. So, finalo ka lang yung plan niya. And then... to my surprise, it ended up like to my benefit kasi ganun pala dapat. Aerobic lang yung muna. Yung mga boys na umuna sa akin sa bike, naunahan ko sa run. So parang nangyari, naging top 9 pa ako.
Number 9. Wow.
Yeah, anyway, it was super fun. But again, that was my like parang isang sundot sa long distance. And then I went back. Galit na galit sa akin sila Coach Rick kasi medyo walang paalam sa trap yun which is now called Tri-Fill, by the way.
Tri-Fill.
Yeah, walang paalam yun na. Hindi talaga unheard of yun. Biglang Ironman, part ka ng national team. So yun, medyo sobrang daming sabon from all sides. Pero sabi ko, wala ganun talaga
Tapos na, ano ang tinatawag natin after the pack?
Exactly.
After the pack na yun.
Ayun siya.
So, well, it's part of history and you are part of history together with, of course, yan sila Sir Fred, kasama dyan sila Frank Lacson, the legendary Frank Lacson. No? So, you started with that iron distance, unsanctioned, and then you did your first Ironman in Langkawi?
Yes, this is when I decided to do long distance na. Like, I made the proper decision. Kasi I retired from being a national athlete in 2006. And then I started coaching kids. And then after that, I said, I think I wanna compete again, but this time as a long-distance athlete. So, in 2007, I did my first sanctioned 70.3. Kita mo nga, doon pala ako nag-half. Doon pala.
So,
2002, nag-full ako. Tapos,
2002
ang tagal.
to 2007.
Doon pala ako nag-half Ironman.
So, 2002, yung period na yon puro ka lang standard.
Olympic, yes.
Puro standard, and then nag-half ka na ng 2007.
In Singapore, which was called the Aviva 70.3. Singapore race, which is not and
wala na,
oo.
Saan ang swim nito, coach?
Sa Marina.
Marina
yes.
Bay.
Oo.
Okay.
So, and then after that, in 2008, February pa yung Langkawi nun late February, like last weekend of February. I did that along with a lot of other Filipinos, maraming Tri-Clark team, maraming fitness first team. And yun, including sila Doray, Mark, sila Mikey, si Abe Tayag, Jumbo Tayag, sila Retzel. Ayan, mga...
Si Retzel, ngayon, nandyan pa naman si Retzel.
Right?
Diba? Shoutout kay Papi Retz.
Hi, Papi.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
I know.
Diba?
Imported na.
Color green na ang mga card niya. Diba?
Ayun. Ang dami namin. Mga 20 plus kami. So, I did that. But in my mind, I already planted a seed in my mind na bakit hindi tayo mag-qualify for Kona? Nobody's ever gone to Kona from home soil. Pero syempre, I wasn't speaking at the thought out loud. But I thought in my mind, fresh pa ako from, national team training. I mean like... serious training na medyo competitive level, and why can't I ang iniisip ko, I'll try to podium. Iniisip ko, parang kaya ko mag-third kasi tinitignan ko yung times from last year. Sabi ko, parang kaya ko mag-third sa age group ko. And then, as the race went on, I think minemorize ko yung race numbers ng mga age group ko eh.
Yun.
Oo.
So,
Kasi
yun
dati may souvenir program, Rafi. Wala namang nakatingin sa website. May
Souvenir
pag kinuha
program.
mo yung race packet mo, souvenir program, guys. Nakalista lahat yung pangalan. Okay, so binilang ko. Ito pala. Nakaprint na lahat eh. Di syempre, itong mga race number from this one to this one is my age group. So, when I started the run, that's when I started. Kasi ang hirap
Hunting.
naman. Oo.
Hunting,
exactly.
di ba? You start to hunt when
Looking for my prey.
Yan, di ba? Hunting season na yan. Pagdating mo sa run, hanapin mo na yung mga kalaban mo.
Kasi mahirap naman magkahanapan sa swim and bike eh. So that I didn't really know what my standing was until then. And then, after one loop sa run, parang dun ko na-realize, oh my gosh, I think I'm first in my age group. Kasi
wala
nakita ko
sila.
nang nauna sa akin, yung mga pro yan, sila Belinda Granger.
BG.
Tapos parang may iba, pero ibang age group, a handful. Tapos, nakita ko yung sumusunod sa akin. Grabe, pinaka-weak Waterloo ko talaga yung running. Can you imagine? In the first run loop, which is 4 loops.